Good evening again, everyone. As I mentioned last week, that tonight's homily would be focused on the election. It's my last opportunity to be able to preach on this very important topic for, I think, each and every one of us. But because it's All Saints' Day, and we can't ignore that great solemnity, that's kind of focus we should all have. That is the common goal for every Christian, to be a saint. Right? That's not a lofty goal. That's the ordinary, normal, common goal for each and every one of us, to be a saint. That is, to get to heaven. I want to frame the election in that light, or looking at it from that angle. So, what is it to be a saint? What is a saint? What does that mean, to be a saint? Another way to think about it, what's the underlining characteristic every saint has? They're holy, right? If you look at a saint, you know they are holy. What does it mean to be holy? Holiness. Holiness is to be set apart for God's sake. It's to take something from here, secular sake, and put it over here, godliness. It's to actually move something, to put it in its proper context. So each and every one of us who are called to be saints are called to be holy. Holiness has to be the abiding characteristic we all experience, right? To be set apart for God's sake, to do the good and avoid evil. And that is in every aspect of life. You can't be holy 6 out of the 7 days of the week. You can't be holy while you're at home and not be holy while you're at work. That's hypocrisy. And so examine yourselves tonight in that light. When we vote as Christians, as Catholics, is our vote a holy choice? That is, if you stand before Jesus and he looks at you and he judges you, will you be judged negatively, sinfully, for your vote? Does your vote move you closer to heaven, or, God forbid, closer to hell? It's not a small thing. We don't just vote for the sake of our country. Yes, we do. But as Catholics, again, our focus has to be on sainthood. It's for heaven's sake. And so, today, as we sit in church, we know there are 2 choices. Yes is the third choice. You can always write somebody in, which is well and good. Don't vote for me, please. I can't be president. Priests can't be president, right? Nor should they ever be. But we have 2 choices in our country. One of these is unpopular. The other is mainstreamly popular. Doesn't mean it's the best choice. Again, the best choice is if the policies are holy or good, or at least the best picture of goodness that they can have, the most good. And for Catholics, we hear a lot about we can't be one-issue voters. You hear that a lot. In fact, some cardinals and bishops are saying that. Catholics, don't be one-issue voters. I agree 100%. If the issues are the same level, if all the issues are in this level, yes, we have to have a whole view of all of them equally. But if an issue is more important than another issue, it has to be looked at differently. I'm talking about abortion, obviously, for us Catholics, right? The first, most abiding principle for Catholics, especially called to be saints, is, do we support abortion by our vote? And don't play the game. It's not about abortion. It's about someone's right to choose something. It's either a sin or it's not a sin. And the saints in their life help people not to sin. So as Catholics, we cannot participate in this. Abortion is a grave moral evil, and therefore it is an issue that has to be taken first. No candidate can be considered if they don't get this first issue correct. That's the first one. And then everything else can follow behind. The second being, right, freedom of religion. Does a candidate help religious people or religious institutions practice their faith freely? Or does it force them to do something that according to their consciences they know are immoral? Second most important. The Democrat Party is not about these things. Now, it is not a sin to be a Democrat. Hear me again, everybody, even on TV. It is not a sin to be a Democrat. I am not here to tell you how you have to vote. But I'm here to tell you that certain issues are gravely immoral. And to participate in them, to make it easy for people to participate in them, we drink, as St. Paul says, judgment on ourselves. Judgment on ourselves. Today in our gospel, we hear the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Do you hunger and thirst for righteousness as we approach the polls on Tuesday? You try and set things right, not according to what man says, but what God says. Do you hunger for that? Last week we talked about politics and how it makes us sometimes very angry, very passionate. Is your first passion to be for righteousness, not just for this community, right? As I see you every week, it's beautiful. But for every person in our country, do you hunger for that? You're blessed if you do. Blessed are those who mourn. Do you mourn for 61 million? 61 million. 61 million people are dead. Children. From the moment of conception, sometimes, all the way into infanticide. If they're born with a defect or a failed abortion, they can be killed, according to certain policies. 61 million. Do you mourn for that? As a country, do we mourn for that? If you do, you're blessed. Blessed are the peacemakers. Not worldly peace, freedom from conflict, but true peace, as we'll hear in our prayer over the Eucharistic sacrifice. True peace comes from freedom from sin. So as peacemakers, do we vote to help people be free from sin in their life? As Catholics, there are many issues that people fall into. Abortion, right? Inappropriate marriages, civil unions, homosexuality, freedom or not freedom to have a true wage if they're working, or just wage, safe and legal entrance into our country for a better life. Are you a peacemaker when you vote? You're blessed. Blessed are you when you're persecuted for my sake. When you vote on Tuesday, and if you take flack for whoever you vote for, especially, most importantly, definitely, if it's somebody who upholds good and right policy according to the church teachings, and you're persecuted for that, you're blessed. We're called to be saints. We're Catholic first. And if we're not Catholic first, we're not Catholic at all. I'd rather you not be here. Go, leave. Be hot or cold, Jesus says. Don't be lukewarm. In the book of Revelation, from our first reading, he goes on to say, the lukewarm I will spew out of my mouth. So let the saintly call we are all made to be. Let holiness be your abiding characteristic. Let holiness be the thing that motivates you first and always in everything that you do. It's not a sin to be a Democrat. I'll say it again. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get calls, I'm going to get emails, the parish will, saying, how could you support the Republicans? I'm not telling you who I'm voting for. I'm not telling you to vote Republican or Democrat. I'm telling you certain things are morally objectionable. And that has to inform our vote. Certain policies, certain parties, certain politicians and candidates say they're one thing, but they could be farther from that. Focus on Jesus. Let the saints be our example. Saintliness, it's hard. You heard it last week. The road to hell, it's wide. It's easy. Popular opinion, easy. The road to heaven is hard. It's narrow, and few will find it. Let the saints be our example tonight, to inspire us, to make us happy, to be excited. When I think about voting, about changing our country, about changing ourselves, about changing our church, that should fire you up. It fires me up. What greater call is there than to be a saint, modeled after Jesus? So take our inspiration from those holy men and women who some of them died for their faith. Take your example from them. Be a saint, be holy, and you will be blessed. Blessed are you, Jesus says. Amen.